Okay, let's give a big hand.
Well, the board of directors of the Plus Company, first off, we'd like to thank each and every one of you, and I know Kim and Bob are going to mention a few things, but what most people might not know is this event was started about 21 years ago by the gentleman, our illustrious Blarney Master, sitting to my left. He and Mr. Monks were the first two people that really formulated this event. So for 20 years of service, and oh, by the way, we did a little fact-checking, Bernie. Do you realize you've raised $1.5 million for the Plus Company? So we have a few things that we would like to impart on you today before all of the Irish wits regale us with their humor and festivities.
Dan Chand, usually does this.
He does this. Well, we took a little bit of a side note, but first and foremost, Bernie, on behalf of the Plus Company, the Board of Directors, and the entire developmental disabilities community, we'd like to thank you for 20 years plus, this being the 21st year, of dedicated service. It's truly just amazing to watch someone with your passion, commitment, and dedication to this group of individuals, and we wanted to present you with this.
Thank you very much.
You know I wasn't going to let you go with that. It's deserved. You deserve it. So, we thought it would be fitting for shirts for Bernie and his beautiful wife for the rest of the day. So Sister Paula was fortunate enough to talk to the Vatican. So we've renamed today St. Bernie's Day. So we've got you two of them.
Thank you very much. I'll put it on afterwards. Okay.
Just one final thing. We just want to say that, as we all know, that St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland, and Bernie has driven all the green out of your wallets. Thank you very much. But it's for a good cause.
Well, thank you. Oh, my God. Well, thank you very much. That was not warranted. But where's Bob Baines, former mayor of Manchester? Where is he? Come on up, Bob. Okay. Bob is also the president of Chester College. But Bob usually starts us off with a couple of Irish songs. Just one today?
I don't want to torture the governor too much.
No, you don't want to. Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor Bob Baines.
Thank you. First of all, it's an honor for me to be here today with all this distinguished gathering. And I also want to give a tribute to Bernie. My first year as mayor of Manchester, I came down to this wonderful breakfast, and I went back home and I said, I think we could do something like this in Manchester. And on Wednesday, we had the 12th annual Bob Baines Blarney Breakfast, and we've raised in the 12 years about $500,000 for the Special Olympics of New Hampshire, the American Red Cross, and the Shirley Brulot Fund that raises money in my sister's memory to help refugees with their transition to the community. So thank you, Bernie, for giving me a great idea and bringing it to Manchester, and that's what I did during the entire time I was mayor, right? Okay, congratulations, Bernie, for great success with this wonderful breakfast to honor the Irish. So now what you need to do is all stand up. Now in Manchester, we actually pay the money to have a band to help me, so I don't have a band here. But I'd like you to join me in the great Irish song, McNamara's Band, that absolutely drives the governor crazy. So it's an honor for me to do that this morning. Oh, my name is McNamara, I'm the leader of the band. Although if you in number, we're the finest in the land. We play at wakes and weddings and at every fancy ball. But when we play at funerals, we play the best of all. Oh, the drums go bang and the cymbals clang and the horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old bassoon while I the pipes do play. Oh, Hennessy, Tennessee, tootle the flute of the music is simply grand. A credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band. Da-da-da-da. Come on. Hey, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. Oh, now we are rehearsing for a very swell affair. The annual celebration, all the gentry will be there. And General Grant from Ireland came, he took me by the hand. He said, we'd never seen the likes of McNamara's band. Oh, the drums go banging, the cymbals clang, and the horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old bassoon while I the pipes do play. Oh, Hennessy, Tennessee, tootle the flute, the music is simply grand. A credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Board of Directors to come on up and introduce you to a couple of special friends of his. Bob.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. A small correction. The Blondie Master did raise $1,500,000. Bernie, that was incorrect. After this morning, after we raise an additional $70,000, that becomes closer to $1.6 million. So thank you. Thank you very much. This is our 21st event, and it's hard to believe how quickly the years have gone by. I'm pretty pumped up here today. I'm standing next to a few of my political heroes, some of my sports heroes, and I do apologize, Rick. I was a young Dorchester hockey rat in 1975, and my brother Eddie called me and said, Bob, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? What could be worse? He said, the Bruins just traded Kenny Hodge. I said, you got to be kidding me. They couldn't trade Kenny Hodge. What's going on? He said, who did they get for him? Who? They said, Rick Middleton. I said, who? Rick, what? Who is he? Rick Middleton. I have no idea. He's been with the Rangers for 1 year. They traded him to the Rangers? That was even worse. Well, over a decade later and many all-star games later and captaincies of the Bruins, I'm sitting next to the guy that I was horrified about so many years ago. So great to see you, Rick. Great to see you. I'd like to recognize the Board of Directors for the Plus Company. If you could please stand up, wave, whatever you're comfortable with. Thank you very much, the Board of Directors. Thank you. Ed. An event like this doesn't happen without dedicated individuals. The committee that worked tirelessly over the past 6 months, if you could please stand and be recognized. The committee for the, thank you. Also, there's always individuals, and all of you have been involved in creating activities. There's 3 individuals that I do want to recognize. Marcy Tangway, Lenny Hodgins, and Cynthia Andriola, who really put it all together. So thank you very much. The Plus Company serves hundreds of families throughout Greater Nashua every year, providing access to a higher quality of life, lives that we cherish and we seek as well. Education, living opportunities, educational opportunities. What you're doing here today, what your attendance and involvement provides for value-added services that would not otherwise be funded. Every dollar that is obtained through our attendance here this morning will be funding activities that, again, would not otherwise be provided. Last year, you may remember I talked about our move into our new facility at 19 Chestnut Street in Nashua. We've been there a year, and we talked about all the possibilities. We knew if we built it, they would come, and they sure did. Our activities are increasing. The lives of the individuals that we serve have been elevated beyond our wildest dreams. I think what really separates the Plus Company in all that we do is really the staff and the leadership. Thank you, Kim. This group of people come to work each day, and sure, they focus on the necessities of what must be done. But this is the difference. They think of the possibilities that can be created that will elevate these lives. And that's what truly separates. So I'd like to really thank all the members of the Plus Company staff and leadership here today. Thank you very much. Now here's the best part. You're going to meet a couple of individuals right now, clients of the Plus Company, who personify what it's all about. These are bright, sharp, beautiful people that are soon to graduate from the Plus Company public speaking class. So you're going to hear firsthand of them this morning. So behind me is Whitney Brown. Let's hear it for Whitney.
My name is Whitney Brown. I moved to New Hampshire when I was 12 years. I moved to New Hampshire when I was 12 years old. I graduated from Merrick High School and I was in the very first Project Search class at St. Joe's Hospital. After graduating from Project Search, the Plus Company helped me get a job at Dartmouth Clinic in Nashua. I work in the OBGYN department. I really feel part of the team at work, working independent. I am almost every offer at the Plus Company. I am learning new skills every day, such as how to speak up for myself. How to make better choices and help each others. I am learning things so that I can live on my own someday. Because you support the Plus Company, you have made my life so much better. Thank you. Thank you so much, people.
Yeah, I'll take that, Kevin. You all set, Jeff? Yeah. And thank you very much, Whitney. Great job. And our next speaker is quite a guy who I've gotten to know very well. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Olert.
Okay. Oh boy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Olert. Thank you for attending the Wild Irish Breakfast today. Let me tell you a little bit about me. After my mother died in 2009, with the help of the Plus Company, I moved in with Diane, Bill, and Michelle Leslie, and Michelle's daughter, Avani. I love my new family and my new busy life. Bill is one of 8 brothers and sisters, so we are always getting together for something. Even though I was 40 years old when I joined my new family, every day I am learning to do things for myself. I also take lots of classes at the Plus Company, where I've made many new friends. The Plus Company has opened many new doors for me. I am really happy with my life. I want to thank Diane and her family for making my life so wonderful and for teaching me to be more independent. I want to thank you for buying a ticket to the Wild Irish Breakfast. Because of you, the Plus Company can help me.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think we all share a wonderful moment here. In front of you, you'll find a green envelope. Last year, we pretty much hid them, and I apologize for that. But if you can look at that and you'll see it, this is your opportunity to fund a need, to fund a program at the Plus Company this year. I encourage you to do it. I truly hope you do. Have a wonderful day. Now I have an opportunity to turn you over to the greatest blinding master in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Bernie Streeter.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob, Whitney, and John. Let me introduce our first Irish wit. And this gentleman continues to outdo himself. And for the last 8 years, he's been the answer to that age-old question, who's that guy in the State House who continues to pull the wool over our eyes? When someone asked him what he thought of foreign affairs, Governor Lynch replied, "I don't know. I never had one." It takes many, many years to become a good governor, and I, for one, John, are looking forward to reaching this goal before the end of this year. Okay. Without any further ado, first Irish wit, Governor John Lynch.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bernie. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you all very much. And before I use a little bit of wit, I have a proclamation I would like to issue. Now, many of you know, and certainly Kevin and Ovid and Maggie should know, that the job of governor is not necessarily the most powerful job in the state. So we do, though, have the power to name a day after somebody. And I am naming today, March 16th, 2012, as St. Bernie Streeter Day in the state of New Hampshire. So it reads, whereas Bernie Streeter's service to the people of Nashua and the state of New Hampshire has extended beyond his tenure as executive council and mayor, as for the last 21 years he has been Blarney Master of the Plus Company's Wild Irish Breakfast in Nashua and demonstrated a long-standing commitment to developmentally disabled individuals. Whereas Bernie Streeter, in coordination with the Plus Company in Nashua, has raised over $1.5 million for adult educational programs in the area, which helps individuals to learn useful skills and maximize self-reliance so that they can become active members of the communities. Whereas this St. Patrick's Day, the Plus Company will host the 21st annual Wild Irish Breakfast, an event Bernie Streeter helped to organize and has become the group's most successful fundraiser. And whereas the Wild Irish Breakfast increases awareness of issues regarding developmentally disabled individuals by inviting prominent figures, none of whom are here today, and presidential hopefuls to speak. Now, therefore, I, John H. Lynch, Governor of the great state of New Hampshire, do hereby proclaim March 16, 2012 as St. Bernie Streeter Day in New Hampshire, in recognition of Bernie Streeter's outstanding commitment to developmentally disabled individuals and the Plus Company. Congratulations to Bernie Streeter. Okay, happy St. Patrick's Day. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I want to again thank Bernie for hosting us. And I would like to congratulate all of those who are not here this morning, because they don't know how fortunate they are. And I do want to say to Whitney and John, thank you for sharing those stories with us. Aren't they terrific, Whitney and John? And Bob Baines, it's so nice to be entertained by you again. You know, I've been listening to that McNamara's Band song for now 16 times as governor. And I still only know the words, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So maybe I'll get it at some point. And It's great that Rick Middleton is here, and as was mentioned, he really is a legend. He played in over 1,000 NHL games, scoring 448 goals and registering 988 points, which is really tremendous. He's also somebody who's very generous with his time and talents and contributes so much to a myriad of organizations here in New Hampshire. But Rick, you think things got ugly in the NHL. Wait until you see this event. As you all know, I announced a few months ago that I wasn't going to run for a 5th term, and people always ask me, what am I going to do with my time? Some of you did this morning. And I told my wife, Susan, I said, just think, every morning we'll be able to get up, look into each other's eyes together, have coffee together, spend the day together. And she said, baloney. She doesn't want me hanging around her. So I have been in discussions with Joe McQuaid. He'd like me to be the editorial director for the Union Leader. He thinks I might be a little bit too conservative for some of their positions, but I promise to moderate myself over time. You know, I pulled in this morning in the dumpy old van that I drive, and who was there to greet me but Ovid and Maggie? And they didn't want to see me, they wanted to see the car I was driving in. They both jumped in. Ovid wanted to measure the legroom to see whether that would accommodate him. Maggie asked if we had heated seats and wanted to know where the DVD player was. Of course, we have none of those. They both asked me that if they were elected governor, would they have the ability to order their own cars? And I said, sure. And of course, they each wanted a car that would fit their own personality, their ideology, and their demeanor. So Maggie asked if she could order an electric car, or maybe a Prius. Ovid said he would like a Model T. So I've been thinking lately about the qualifications of Maggie and Ovid. Now, Maggie lives on the campus of Phillips Exeter. She is surrounded every day by impetuous adolescents, constantly making bad decisions, which makes her perfect to deal with the legislature. Now, as you know, a bill that's introduced in the legislature never makes it through the whole process unchanged. As it goes through the House and the Senate, it evolves. There's kind of an evolution about those bills. Well, if Ovid becomes governor, that process will be streamlined to fit his own ideology. If Ovid is governor, the bills will not evolve. They will be created and completed within 6 days. Now, knowing that both Ovid and Maggie would be here and Kevin's here, I thought I would bring you a gubernatorial survival kit. In this kit is everything you need to better do your jobs as governor of the great state of New Hampshire. So let me get my kit out. The first, as you know, all bills have to originate from the language of the Magna Carta, which was written in 1215. So I got each of them a copy of the Magna Carta. Obviously, this will be important debate questions come in the fall for both of them. As governor, you travel around the state a lot, and generally your lunch consists of Dunkin' Donuts and glazed donuts. Dunkin' Donuts coffee, so I got them a map of all the Dunkin' Donuts locations in the state of New Hampshire. Now, Rick Middleton has been reading a lot about this legislature. So Rick called me and said he wanted to contribute something to this gubernatorial survival kit. I think this would work, Rick. Certainly something very, very necessary. And also, the last thing they need in the State House as governor of the great state of New Hampshire this will provide them good protection. And Mayor Lozo, it's a pleasure to see you again. I recently saw the mayor at a GNC meeting in Concord. And by the way, Mayor, you did a great job. You really did, representing the city of Nashua. Of course, the mayor was very disappointed that the council voted against the feasibility of bringing commuter rail to Nashua, to Manchester, maybe to Concord. And she was pretty upset with her own councilor. And what she wanted to do was run her own councilor out of town on a rail. Now she has to use a bus. On a serious note, I want to thank all of you for supporting the Plus Company. As governor over the past 8 years, I really have seen the great work done by the organization. And I've heard, like we heard today, the inspirational stories told by those who receive services from the Plus Company. I like to think New Hampshire is a place of opportunity for everybody, where everybody has the opportunity to live a fulfilling life. And that opportunity necessarily should extend to the people who have developmental disabilities. So again, thank you all for being here, and a special thanks to Bernie Streeter for all he has done for all of us here in New Hampshire over the years. Thank you very much again. Thanks, Bernie. You can't have that. That's mine.
Thank you very much, Governor. You continue to be a legend in your own mind. That was supposed to be funny. You know, Patty had had long heard the stories of an amazing family tradition. It seems that his father and his grandfather and his great-grandfather had all been able to walk on water on their 18th birthday. And on that special day, they each walked across the lake to the pub on the other side for their first legal drink. So when Patty's 18th birthday came around, he and his pal Mick took a boat out to the middle of the lake. Patty stepped out of the boat and nearly drowned. Mick just barely managed to pull himself to safety. So furious and confused, Patty went to see his grandmother. "Grandma," he asked, "it's my 18th birthday, so why can't I cross the lake like my father, his father, and his father before him?" Her granny looked deeply into Patty's troubled brown eyes and said, "Because your father, your grandfather, and your great-grandfather were all born in December, when the lake is frozen, and you were born in August." But you could laugh a little more than that, John. You know, after 21 years as your Blarney Master, and I'm not getting any younger, as you can tell as the years go by, I thought it'd be a good time to have an assistant. So I had lunch with Dan Chan last week thinking he'd be a great Blarney Master. For as you know, he speaks clearly, has a great sense of humor, and we all love him. And then I realized that Dan was older than I am. So I thought we should have someone much younger who could relate to this audience and could entertain you at an early hour and keep you coming back year after year to support the Plus Company. But Britney Spears wouldn't return my calls. So I asked Jennifer Horn, who I'm told did a magnificent job as the MC at last month's Salvation Army Groundhog Breakfast, if she would fill in. And those of you who know Jennifer know that she's a former congressional nominee, radio talk show host, newspaper columnist, and is the founder and CEO of a new nonprofit organization called We the People, a first in the nation Freedom Forum. The mother of 5 children, married to husband Bill, and a community activist, Jennifer has a great sense of humor. So let's welcome Assistant Blarney Master Jennifer Horn as she introduces State Senator Maggie Hassan and Bruins legend Rick Middleton. Jennifer.
Thank you, Bernie. It is a great pleasure to be here today. I so appreciate the invitation to join the crew up here. In all seriousness, it is an honor to be part of this very prestigious event. As folks who are out and about in Nashua probably know, I have a great deal of affection for Bernie Streeter, and I just want to say about him this morning that after all the years I've known him, after all the years all of you have known him, his service on the Executive Council, his time as mayor of our great city, the truth is what Bernie does at the Salvation Army and what Bernie does right here at the Plus Company for over 20 years is a reflection of who Bernie Streeter really is. And I'd like you to join me in thanking him one more time for the great service he has given our community. Thank you. I have to say I was surprised when Bernie invited me to join him as kind of co-host of this event. You know, and I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why Bernie decided to need a second person up here. There's been a lot of rumors lately about Bernie's health, and I'm here to tell you he's fine. Look at him. That had nothing to do with it. The only reason they decided they needed a second person is they weren't sure if he'd be sober enough to do it at 7:30 in the morning. So, but I was surprised it was me that he asked. As Bernie said, you know, I've got 5 kids. I've lost 2 congressional races, and I don't mind telling you I am stripping my way through menopause, and he wants to put me behind a microphone? I don't know what you're thinking. Oh, sure, you laughed at Bernie stuff, and some of you are too sophisticated for menopause jokes. Give me a break. Yeah, it's all downhill from here, folks. You have no idea. I also really want to thank Governor John Lynch. This is his last time here at the Plus Company as governor. And in all seriousness, Governor has been a tremendous supporter of the Plus Company. Governor, thank you so much. We appreciate what you've done for us here. A couple of my friends in the audience, Bernie's already recognized them. It's our very own, all of us in Nashua, we're so proud to have our very own Nashua Senator Kelly Ayotte. Kelly, you've done great work in Washington. Terrific to have you here. And of course, Congressman Charlie Bass. Most of you may not know, Charlie and I really are good friends. It's great to have Charlie here. Although I have to say, every time Charlie walks into a room, mothers everywhere lick their hands and want to smooth down his hair. But honest to God, Charlie, you're a congressman. Get a comb, for heaven's sake. Charlie, it's great to see you. It's good to have you here today. You know, our Senator Ayotte and Congressman Bass in the audience, and I noticed that they're sitting down there. I'm up here with Ovid LaMontagne. And Ovid, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but I think they put us at the losers table. So, oh, ooh, give me a break, come on. Look at him, isn't he cute? I can't decide if Ovid looks more like the Ken doll or John Edwards. I think it's the hair. It's great to be part of all this, and I'm pleased to have the opportunity to introduce our next Irish wit. You all know Maggie Hassan. She's a former state senator. She's running for governor this year in the Democratic Party. Maggie's what you would call a liberal Democrat. She's very liberal. Maggie is so liberal, she thinks the free market is where you get in line for government cheese. For the older folks in our crowd. I was talking to Maggie the other day, because Maggie and I talk all the time. I was talking to her the other day, and I asked her, I said, Maggie, who is your favorite historical figure? And she said, Christopher Columbus. I said, really, Christopher Columbus, why? And she said, Jennifer, Christopher Columbus was the greatest Democrat in history. I said, how do you know that Christopher Columbus was a Democrat? She said, it's obvious. He left not knowing where he was going. He got there not knowing where he was. He left again not knowing where he'd been, and he did it all on someone else's money. A great Democrat. So, the truth is, Maggie wasn't sure at first if she was going to run for governor or not, so one day she decided to go over to Rye and take a nice long walk on the beach and try to clear her head. Imagine her surprise when she stumbled upon a magic lamp. Maggie picked it up, rubbed it with her sleeve, and out came a genie. Thank you for releasing me from this lamp, said the genie. In return, I will grant you one wish. Well, Maggie said, I'm thinking about whether or not I should run for governor. and I just wish I was a little bit smarter, really smart. And the genie said, no problem. He snapped his fingers, and poof, she turned into a Republican. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Democratic candidate for the governor of the great state of New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan.
Thank you, Jennifer. What a nice introduction and welcome. Good morning, everybody, and happy St. Patrick's Day. And I want to add my congratulations to Whitney and John. What a wonderful job you did up here this morning. So, as you know, my name is Maggie Hassan, and thanks to Governor Lynch's decision not to seek an unprecedented 13th consecutive term as governor, I'm running for governor of New Hampshire. Finally, after the November elections, the power-hungry little man who runs his party with an iron fist will be gone from Concord for good. Ooh, shoot. That's actually my stump speech. We won't miss you, Speaker O'Brien. I really didn't have time to get my papers in order this morning. I was almost late getting here because I was looking for the grandstand. I was. And I know that candidates for office are supposed to be very careful with their humor, so I called up former Governor Benson and got advice from him on my speech. So you all ready? A few people here today have been waiting for the governor to step aside for years. But I've actually been waiting longer. I've dreamed of being governor of this great state since I was a little wee bit of a girl. Hard to believe that was only 30 years ago. And it's great to see Mayor Streeter here this morning. And I guess that Bernie has learned his lesson. He's already gone ahead. He's endorsed Ovid. He's really hoping that that gets him the seat on the Lottery Commission. And speaking of the race for governor, you may have heard that Kevin Smith, founder of the conservative Cornerstone Action Group, said that I was obsessed with social issues. Now, Kevin Smith accusing someone else of being obsessed with social issues is like Jimmy Dean accusing someone else of being obsessed with sausage. In fact, the only thing crazier than Kevin Smith saying someone else is obsessed with social issues is Kevin Smith saying he's going to be the next governor of New Hampshire. But I wanted Kevin, I wanted you to know that there are no hard feelings between us, so I brought you a gift to remind you of me on the campaign trail. When you're out of the campaign trail, here's a bottle of Obsession for you, okay? Give it to you right after the breakfast. But I shouldn't obsess about Kevin. I know that his competition in the primary, Ovid LaMontagne, is here this morning, and Ovid is well known to most people in New Hampshire. He's run a lot of races. Maybe I should have gotten you a bottle of Eternity. But he's lost a race for governor to Jean Shaheen in the 90s and a close race to Kelly Ayotte for the U.S. Senate a few years ago. And even though Ovid has long been an active member of the New Hampshire Republican establishment, he's running for governor as an outsider, which is kind of hard to believe considering the only GOP events that he's been on the outside of are the victory parties. Okay, Kevin, Ovid, you know I'm just kidding. We all know that politics is a tough game. Very often decent, hardworking public servants lose elections. After all, it was just a couple of years ago when I was the Democratic majority leader of a 14-member Democratic Senate caucus. Not so big anymore. But seriously, folks, this is a wonderful organization. The Plus Company does amazing work. It's all about building opportunity for everyone. So everyone has the opportunity to succeed. I'm just very honored to be a part of it here today. And thank you very much for having me enjoy your breakfast.
Boy, it's tough. You know, poor Kevin Smith, he wasn't even sitting at the dais, and you thought you were safe out there, didn't you, Kevin? You know, I also want to say thank you. I know Bernie has done this already. I want to say thank you to one of our new sponsors. It's truly, it's great to have Joe McQuaid and the union leader as part of the Plus Company team this year. Joe, thank you so much for offering your support. We really do have the luck of the Irish with us today. Former Boston Bruins star Rick Middleton is with us this morning, and he's brought a little bit of his Irish with him. Here's a little piece of history for you may not have known. Did you know that the toothbrush was invented by a hockey player? It really was. And how do we know this? We know this because if anyone else in the world had invented it, it would have been called a teeth brush. Go ahead. Like all good Irishmen and all good hockey players, Rick enjoys a little bit of the brew every now and then. Last night when he got into town, he went down to Main Street to Martha's Exchange and sat down at the bar. Imagine his surprise to find Bernie Streeter tending bar. So he settled in and he ordered a Guinness. As he was drinking his beer, a little man, about this tall, came out of nowhere wearing a top hat, tuxedo, and even tails. He walked right past Rick down the bar where he sat down at a miniature piano and began to play. Rick looked at Bernie and he said, "Wow, what is that?" Bernie said, "Hey, I got him from my genie." Rick said, "You have a genie?" Bernie pulled a lamp out from under the bar. Rick rubbed it, and sure enough, out comes the genie. The genie looked at him and he looked at Rick and he said, "You can have one wish." Rick thought about it for a moment and he said, "I wish for $1 million. "Your wish is my command," said the genie, and he disappeared back into the lamp. Suddenly, from behind the bar came the sound, quack, 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 as $1 million began to pour into the bar. Rick got all upset, and he said, "Bernie, your genie is hard of hearing. I didn't say bucks, I said bucks, not ducks." Bernie just looked at him and shook his head. He said, "Yeah, no kidding. You really think I wished for a 12-inch pianist?" I gotta say, this is more fun than the Salvation Army thing. Every New England sports fan knows Rick Middleton from his 12 years with the Boston Bruins and that amazing hat trick he scored on his very first game with the team. He was not only a star on the ice, he also coached and spent 5 years as an analyst at New England Sports Network. Please give a warm, wild Irish welcome to Rick Middleton.
Thank you very much. And Governor, thank you for the kind words and remembering all my stats. But, you know, I'm an old-time hockey player, and I remember old-time politicians. We didn't wear helmets. Well, I'd like to thank the Plus Company and my good friends Terry and Lem Robinson for inviting me here today to speak. You know, I'm not Irish. I might look Irish, but I'm not Irish. So I'm going to change the pace a little bit because I don't know all these fine people up here, so I can't give them digs. So, you know, when I was thinking of what I could speak about this morning when I was asked to speak, how I could tie hockey and St. Patrick's Day in, it reminded me of a story that happened a long time ago, actually 32 years ago next week. I was playing for the Bruins. It was March 21st, 1980. We were in Atlanta playing the Atlanta Flames. And we happened to go out, Peter McNabb, who was my roommate for 8 years with the Bruins, and Mike Milbury, some of you remember, on Nesson and pretty much every other hockey station in the world. We were out having a couple of pints because I imagine that was the first road trip we'd had after St. Patrick's Day, and we didn't get together at home, so we were having a couple of pints before the game. And Peter's wife had just had a baby, and my wife was 9 months pregnant at the time. And Peter went to the phone to call his wife. It was before cell phones, and must have called collect. And I called my wife, and she was doing okay. And I come back to the table, and Peter says, "How's she doing?" I said, "Well, her contractions are 5 minutes apart." And he goes, "Now, he's the resident expert on childbirth now, right?" And he goes, "She's going to have the baby." you got to get home. I said, get out of here. It's 11 o'clock at night. I just ordered another beer. What do you mean I got to go home? We're in Atlanta. No, you're going to miss the birth of your first child. You got to go home. So we had just had enough beers that he convinced me that I better get home or I'm going to miss the birth of my first child. So we get into a cab and we drive to the airport. Now, I don't remember whether, we couldn't have called by cell phone, so I think we just went to the airport. But of course, before we got to the airport, we had to stop at a liquor store, buy some champagne. So I have this memory of speeding to the airport, drinking a bottle of champagne with the cab driver drinking it. And we bought 2 bottles, so I get to the airport, I get my ticket, and all I get on the plane with is a bottle of champagne. I have no bags. I just check, in the old days, right? You just get on a plane and get a bottle, sure, put it between your feet. And I wake up over New York, and I still got the bottle between my feet. I look down, and I land. My neighbor picks me up. I guess I must have called him. It's like 3:30 in the morning now. I rush home. I lived in Topsfield, Massachusetts at the time. At 4:30, I get home. She's still 5 minutes apart. I said, oh, okay. Well, why don't we go to the hospital, just in case something, speeds up here. We'll go to the hospital. So we drive in the hospital. We get into Beth Israel downtown and sitting there all morning now. And I'm getting a little nervous. My child has not been born yet, and I've got a game tonight in Atlanta. So I call back to my roommate, and I said, what's the story? Have they missed me? Because I wasn't at the morning skate, so they must have said, where's Middleton? And they said, yeah, the word is just get your ass back here. I go, well, I'll try, but... So the doctor comes out a short time later and says, your wife's been in labor all morning. She's really tired. He said, I could induce her. I said, well, that'd be good, because I got to get back to Atlanta. So, I don't think he did it just because I asked him to. But he induced her, and my daughter Claudine was born. And I give her, how you doing? And boom, I'm downstairs and give her a kiss goodbye, and I'm in a cab on the way to Logan now, and I rushed to Logan. Got on another plane. Thank God it was Atlanta in a hub, or I probably never would have gone there. Got on another plane, got to Atlanta, grabbed another cab, go to the Omni. They played, the Atlanta Flames played in the Omni in those days. Get in, and I look at my watch, and I go, geez, you know what? I'm going to make warm-up. I said, this is great. I got time. And I turn the corner, run to the dressing room. I see Harry Sinden, and he gives me one of these. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking, no, I'm going to get fined, or worse. I rush back, and he's not even going to dress me. This is all going through my mind. Calls me over, and he says, we just fired Fred Creighton. I'm going behind the bench tonight. I said, great, Harry, that's super. Fred was the coach that took over for Don Cherry, and he never lasted the whole year that year. And Harry went behind the bench. We go out. We won the game 4-1. I got a goal. I grabbed the puck for my daughter. I kept it all these years, and 2 years ago on her birthday, March 22nd, I put it in a little trophy, and I gave it to her on her 30th birthday. So we always have a memory. And she lives in Montreal today. I try to go up every St. Patrick's Day to celebrate They do celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Montreal with her and her birthday. And I'm going to try to get up there next week. But she works at the Bell Center, and she's a Montreal Canadiens fan, so I don't think I'm going. But really, thank you very much for inviting me today. This is a great cause, and don't forget, Terry wanted to remind me that we have a golf tournament coming up September 24th at Vesper Country Club for the Plus Company. So I hope you all are golfers in here and will join us, because it's a great day. And Terry puts on a super golf tournament on one of the best courses in New England and the country. So thank you, Terry, and I'll be there with all the Bruins. All right, thank you.
Remember that corn
Yes,
remind me. Thank you, Rick. Our next Irish wit is our old friend from Manchester, Ovid LaMontagne. Now, Ovid, do you know why the good folks in Manchester always go to movie theaters in groups of 18 or more? You don't, okay? Because of that sign out front that says 17 and under not admitted. And Ovid, how do you know when you're staying at a Manchester hotel? You don't know, okay. Well, that's when you call the front desk and say, I got a leak in my sink. And the front desk clerk replies, go ahead. Always an Irishman on St. Patrick's Day, and the guy who brought the term almost to New Hampshire politics several times, my good friend, and hopefully yours, Attorney Ovid Lamontagne.
Governor Lynch, Senator Ayotte, Charlie Bass, our congressman from the 2nd District, Mayor Lozo, distinguished guests, including our Blarney Master, Bernie Streeter, Whitney and John, and my best Irish brogue, allow me to say, top of the morning to you. I've always wondered, what is the response to this Irish greeting anyway? Well, St. Patrick may be a saint of the Catholic Church. No, Sister Paula Marie was, I think, still sitting there. She's right there. No, Sister Paula Marie, I don't think the response to top of the morning is, and with your spirit. For those of you who chuckled at that, I can only assume that you're the only ones in the room who have ever seen or uttered the word consubstantial while praying the Nicene Creed under the new Roman Missal. I don't know about you, but I attend Mass, sister, to find the Lord and save my soul, not to pass the SATs. But I digress. Whoops, I just got a text message. This is from Joe McQuaid. I think I should take it. Lefty. What do you get when you cross a Republican, a Democrat, a moderate, a conservative, and a libertarian? Scroll down for the answer. John Lynch. Thank you. Thanks for that text message. Most of you still look as shocked that a guy named Ovid Lamontagne would be addressing St. Patrick's Day breakfast. And as shocked as you look, it's how shocked I felt when Bernie Streeter called me to invite me to speak. I said to Bernie, I appreciate your support of my campaign for governor, and I understand you're trying to do penance for your wander years as card-carrying member of Republicans for Lynch. But Bernie, I'm not Irish. I'm 100% French, both sides of the family. He said, you're not Irish? Well, I have you listed under my contacts under O. Lamontagne. Right between O'Hanlon and O'Malley. After a brief pause, Bernie said, well, that's all right if you're not Irish. Can I let you in on a and you promise you won't tell anyone? Sure, Bernie, I promise. What's the secret? You know Dan Chan, right? He's been our final speaker for breakfast for many years. I call him Papelbon. Yes, Bernie, I know Dan Chan. Well, no one else knows this, but he's not Irish either. I was stunned. I said, he's not? I thought with his Irish brogue, he's from far eastern Ireland. Bernie said, and I went on to say, but the good news is we have our very own Irish leprechaun that attends these breakfasts, and he's been speaking for the last 7 years. I said, who's the Irish leprechaun? He said, John Lynch. And Bernie said, of course, the bad news is you got to be very careful when you come up to speak because you don't want to trip over the step stool we put up here for him to look over the podium. I said, okay. And then I said, how do you know he's an Irish leprechaun? He says, well, when you look at the news at night in New Hampshire and you see fires and floods and natural disasters, you always see Governor Lynch. If you look carefully at a rainbow in New Hampshire, you always see Governor Lynch at the end of that rainbow sitting next to a pot of gold. I said, good, we could use that to help balance the budget in the future. I said, well, Bernie, that's pretty special, this whole event, and yes, I'll come. And he said, there's one condition about your coming to speak. And he said, I want you to commit to me that you're going to visit the Plus Company. I said, Bernie, I'd be honored to. So I did on February 29th. I arrived at what I thought was an ordinary-looking little old warehouse of a building in Nashua. And when I arrived and opened the door, I felt like Dorothy who opened the door of the house in Oz. The energy was positive. The colors were bright. I met Lenny, and I met Kim, and they introduced me to the clients and the staff of the Plus Center. And so I walked through the building. I met Whitney and John in their classes, and I was overwhelmed by the very positive, very affirming, loving environment that I found there in this little old warehouse in Nashua. And the transformative activity that was taking place in that building, it was very powerful. Since 1988, my wife Betty and I have been guardians of a foster son with special needs. And I sort of transported him to this place, and I thought, wow, his life would be greatly enriched if he were here. And I left knowing the facility, I left after visiting the facility knowing that I was a better man for having this wonderful experience to witness this great organization firsthand. And I certainly hope that you recognize that at the Plus Company, the clients are not seen as people with special needs, and they are affirmed as bona fide New Hampshire citizens with special opportunities. And I thank Bernie and Sally for their leadership in support of this great organization. I thank the staff and the committed volunteers who support our New Hampshire citizens with special opportunities every day of the year. Thank you for what you do, Kim, and your staff. So I would echo what Bernie has said. Please give often, give generously. And speaking of giving, I'm reminded of Father O'Malley, who was meeting, every week he met with the local Protestant pastor and a local rabbi, and they would talk about their needs of their communities and so forth. And one day they were talking about giving. And the discussion turned to distinguishing what you give to God and what you keep for yourself as a local religious leader. And the Protestant minister said, well, I have a system. I take a box, put all the collections from the week in the box, I shake it up, I toss the contents as high in the air as I possibly can, and whatever falls back in that box I give to God, whatever falls outside the box I keep for myself. The rabbi said, that's interesting, I have a very similar system, except it goes this way. I take the box, big box, put all everything in there, shake it up, throw the contents as high as possible into the air. Whatever falls in the box goes to me, whatever falls on the outside goes to God. Father O'Malley said, well, gentlemen, I have a system very similar to that, but I think mine's a little better. I take a big box, I put all the collections in there, I shake up the box, I toss up all the money in the air as high as it could possibly go. Whatever God wants, he keeps. Whatever comes down, I take. Happy St. Patrick's Day. God bless you and God bless America.
I got to warn all the other speakers that are still coming up. Bernie's getting mad. Nobody's referring to him as Saint Bernie. This is Saint Bernie's Day. He wants the title. I'm really very pleased to have the opportunity to introduce our next guest. Very glad that she's with us again. Nashua Mayor Donna Lee Lozo has just begun her second term as mayor of the Gate City. She ran unopposed in our most recent election. I think that's pretty great. She's a longtime, very strong supporter of the Plus Company. Mayor, we appreciate your support. We're happy to have you with us today. Donna Lee and I were chatting over a cup of tea the other day, because I talk to Maggie, I talk to Donna Lee, these are the people I hang out with. We were chatting over a cup of tea the other day, and she was telling me that things are going pretty well down at City Hall. But she said that, the one challenge she has had is that for the past 4 years, she has really had to confront that old saying, about women. You know the one, that women have to do twice as well to be thought of as being as good as a man. But Donna Lee says for her it hasn't really been as hard, what with Bernie being her predecessor and all. But so Donna Lee and I are about the same age, and we women go through this change of life all around the same time. I know Donna Lee is right there with me. I ran into her at the grocery store the other day in the freezer aisles, caught her trying to shove a frozen turkey down her blouse. But Donna Lee, it's okay. The great American marketing machine is finally showing a little bit of compassion for we midlife women. They're making a new doll called Menopause Barbie. She wets her pants when she sneezes, forgets where she puts things, cries at the drop of a hat. She's sick and tired of Ken sitting around on the couch, watching the tube, clicking through the channels and drinking his beer. It comes with a box of Depends, a box of Kleenex, and a Colt 45. So if Ken leaves those damn socks on the bathroom floor one more time, she can just shoot him. Please help me welcome a woman who doesn't need a gun to get things done, Mayor Donnelly Lozo.
Never know where things are gonna go. I spend more time holding my breath at this breakfast than I do. Told somebody, you know, there's more stress in this than there is in my State of the City. What is wrong with that? Okay, so every year I try to do something a little different. So this year, you're familiar with the popular Late Night with David Letterman. So I'd like to welcome you all to the first Early Morning with Donnelly Lozo. Of course, that starts with a little monologue, right? So we're all here again, and we're gluttons for punishment, subjecting ourselves to ridicule for a cause, a good cause. Thank goodness. And then I look out in the audience and I see a few people. So, well, probably more than a few. It's a really full house. Nice job. Lenny, nice job filling the room. And I see United States Senator Kelly Ayotte. We all know that she's here, and clearly much smarter than the rest of us. Knew how not to make it up here. Way to go, Senator. And then, of course, Congressman Bass. As you heard, he received the Lifetime Achievement Award, so there was no chance of him coming back up here to the table. Nicely done. And then there was this woman named Peggy last year. How many of you were at the breakfast last year? All right, so some of you will get it, okay. Peggy. Very naughty. And then there's a guy named Chris Williams who runs a comedy show at the Chamber. Oh, there he is over there. Seems never to make it up here. Very, very naughty. His comedy show's at night. Somehow the mayor's anatomy always gets involved. So it was Kermit the Frog who said it isn't easy being green. I'll tell you what isn't easy. It isn't easy being funny at the crack of dawn. It's downright painful, actually. The only funny Irishmen awake and coherent at 7 a.m. haven't come home from the pub yet. Which poses the question, why do we do this at breakfast? What's wrong with the other daily meals? Who doesn't enjoy a hearty noontime meal or a delicious dinner? Although not recommended, many Americans actually skip breakfast. Let's have a show of hands from those of you who routinely, purposely skip supper. My point exactly. Supper is a more popular meal. Why do you think comedy clubs don't open until 10 p.m.? It's because they wait for their audience to be well-nourished, for the workday to be behind them, and cocktails readily available. Can you imagine coming to a comedy club first thing in the morning with the only thing for you is a cup of black coffee? I can assure you, not funny. So, I'm going to move into my top 10 list, even though I was going to point out to Chris that his comedy club sometimes is not funny either. So, before I share my top 10 list, and in the spirit of good sportsmanship, I will point the finger at myself with a little limerick. As mayor of the city of Nashua, an Irishman I am not, born a French Canadian without a single gold coin in my pot. I will try to be funny without speaking too bluntly, praying next year to delegate my spot. Okay, so here goes. So sit back and relax while I quietly acknowledge your top 10 Irish panelists. Number 10, Dan Chan. An obvious least Irish Dan Chan sits as tall as he possibly can. He annually tries to impersonate Irish eyes and convince you corned beef tastes like chicken. Number 9, Sister Paula Marie. I know you're down there, but you were early up here earlier. I'm just saying. It's fair game, exactly. Sister Paula Marie, a new colleague and friend. With this message I respectfully send. Though you may be part Irish and on Fridays eat fried fish, you are much too holy to tease Amen. Kim is smart. Kim is funny. Kim likes her whiskey with a touch of honey. Now, remembering why there is sleep in your eye is to give Plus a big chunk of your money. Number 7, Governor John Lynch said the governor in a recent report to a leprechaun who was equally short, Irish luck in his favor, soon home cooking to savor, with plenty of time to master a new sport. Number 6, Bob Purcell. How you doing, Bob? You always get away with nobody, I know. It's not going to be bad. There's a theme, you've already noticed that. Bob be nimble, Bob be quick, but multiple pints will make him sick. He has a huge heart, doing more than his part by giving like good old St. Nick. Number 5, Jennifer Horn. If I had only waited until after. You were actually very kind. There once was a candidate named Jennifer, whose name meaning smooth and fair, with a shamrock held tight and a future that's bright, may one day capture a political chair. Margaret Maggie Hassan. We are joined by a lawyer named Margaret. Can't tell yet where next year she'll sit. Racing to our state's corner office, skills of award-winning actress, Miss Maggie should bank on her wit. Number 3, Ovid Lamontagne.
We're both French Canadians.
Ben oui, there, side by each we sat. Okay. Can't do the Irish thing, but French, I'm good. All right. Ovid is a popular gent and partakes in the tradition of Lent. What he gave up, I won't guess, though he may soon confess, 'cause as governor, there's never no comment. Rick Middleton, read a lot about you. I always liked hockey, but now I know more than I ever thought I would know. All right, here goes. Richard David Nifty Middleton should have worn a helmet. With a protective cushion. He's an international star. 5 Franklins and goals is spectacular. In 12 years as an NHL sportsman. And the number 1 top 10 Irish panelist, Bernard Streeter. I think it'd be more funny to say it's St. Bernard Day. Just missing that jug, you know? Okay. Blarney Master O'Streeter, where do I begin? Your service to Plus makes the audience grin. With 20 years and counting, your dedication's astounding, and I applaud your apparent thick skin. So John and Whitney, nicely done today. You make us very proud. I am a new board member to the Plus Company. I haven't been there even 20 weeks, never mind 20 years. I'm happily wearing my name tag, and I am honored, as Ovid said, when you go into the Plus Company, it is a very, very remarkable experience. And to see the difference that we're making, it's pretty amazing. And when most people don't know what Plus stands for, so it's people learning useful skills. There are other people we might want to share that with. But I will leave you with one final joke, which isn't on paper, so let's hope I remember it exactly. So there was an Irishman who was raising his son alone. His wife had passed on, and he was very worried about what his young man was going to be when he grew up. So he decided that he better make sure he knew what direction he was going to go before too long in case he had to redirect him. So he devised a plan. He took a gold coin, bottle of whiskey, and a Bible, and he set them up in his room. And he decided he was going to hide behind the door, and when his son came home, if he picked up the gold coin, he would know that he was going to be a businessman. If he picked up the Bible, he'd know that he would be a preacher. If he picked up the whiskey, he was going to worry about him being a drunkard. But he was sure that this was going to give him some idea. So he hastily put out the items, hid behind the door. His son came home. He's peeking through the crack. He sees the son. The son picks up the gold coin, flips it, gives it a rub, sticks it in his pocket. Father thinks, okay, that's good. Puts the Bible under his arm, takes a swig of the whiskey. His father goes, oh my God, Margaret, he's come to be a politician.
That's pretty good, Donnelly. Several people have mentioned my wife, Sally, and so I thought I'd say something about Sally. You know, she was hinting to me about a week ago. She said about what she wanted for her upcoming anniversary. And she said, I want something shiny that goes from 0 to 150 in about 30 seconds. So I bought her a bathroom scale. And that's when the fight began. You know? And she sat down beside me as I was flipping channels, and she asked, what's on TV? I said, dust. And that's when the fight started again. Our last Irish wit is none other than former Hong Kong police inspector and Nashua Chinese restaurateur Dan Chan. Many of you know that Dan attended both the Sherlock Holmes and the Charlie Chan police academies. Right, Dan? That's what you told me, right? Okay. Come on up, Dan. A big advocate of the Confucius philosophy of always teaching people to be good citizens, as well as being an inspiration to improve our appetites for Chinese food, Inspector Chan continues to bring us his own form of Irish wit. Most of the time we don't really know what he's saying, but you have to admit that he's funny. Come on up, Dan, you're up. Dan, you've done a good job for the last 21 years as our Irish wit.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, you're up now. Yeah. Remember, you only got 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Good morning, Governor John Lynch, and ladies and gentlemen. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Confucius said, if wise Irish gentlemen go for special Irish stew Chinese style, lovely lady will follow. Governor John Lynn has led New Hampshire to be a model state, good for other states to follow. Governor Lynn, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Governor Lynn, you are fervently devoted to serving the people of New Hampshire with remarkable achievement throughout your successful four-year term. And now you may move ahead with your future plan. Whatever you endeavor to achieve, I wish you success and happiness with your loving family.
Thank you very much.
The first in the nation, New Hampshire primary, may send a candidate, start the candidate journey to the White House. Let's hope the next president will turn around the economy, enforces Homeland Security, and maintain the best military in the world at all times. He will work with the allies to achieve world peace. We hope the day will come for the people in the Middle East to start fighting and stop terrorist attacks to let people live in peace. We are proud of our American freedom fighters. People in the world should remember and thank Americans for ending World War II with a big victory in 1945, restoring world peace, helping many nations revive, especially the Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe. Then the continent makes safe and prosperous. In Asia, China benefits from enormous American aid throughout wartime and peacetime to become a prosperous country they are now, all because of American spirit and big heart to help people around the world. One more minute, okay. Long minute. Mayor Donnelly Loso, following her historic victory to become the first female mayor of Nashua, in her second-term victory last November, must be satisfied with her achievement, among them taking ownership of the water supply to serve the people in this region. Despite slow economy, Chinese restaurants are flourishing in the Nashua area, serving delicious Chinese food with low menu prices for people to enjoy. And now, beginning her second term, Mayor Loso continue working for the best interests of the people and to keep Nashua progressing. The sky is the limit. Mayor, congratulations. I wish you every success in the coming year. I also hope you will encourage Master David Loso to add a Chinese chef to enhance his famous food catering. As we know, customers always expect the best. One more minute. Okay. Candidate Ovid LaMontagne, for the first time you run for governor to devote your talent and energy to serve the people of New Hampshire and to follow all the successful governors before you to make New Hampshire prosperous and popular. I would like to congratulate you in advance for your victory in November and your inauguration as the 81st governor of New Hampshire in January 2013. You will begin fulfilling your duty and achieving goals. I wish you success, the best of luck, and happiness. Wait a minute.
Okay, no.
No, I'm going to
We got to go home, Dan.
I'm going to tell you now, okay. Now, Mayor Bernie Trader, my good friend, thank you for giving me 3 minutes to speak and make it understandable. Even I stammer like the King's Speech in the movie. I now have 2 minutes left. I applaud all of you in the Plus Company for helping people who have disability, while Director Kim Sharp devote her time, energy, and leadership to apply special teaching and training for them to become independent. Bernie is happy and grateful for all the generous donation and support from wonderful people. Since Councilor Bernie Streeter led the Plus Company to set the first St. Patrick's Day White Irish dinner right here in Nashua in 1991, 21 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, because of your ardent support, the Plus Company is successful. The Plus Company is successful, helping more and more people improve their life every year. Thank you all. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Make it a good year. God bless America.
Okay, thank you, Dad.
And don't forget, eat Chinese food. Okay, let me say it.
No, that's it. That's it.
Senator.
We gotta go. No, we gotta go.
How about Senator?
No, that's it.
Senator.
That's it. That's okay. That's okay.
Let me say
No,
one sentence. Oh, I have to congratulate Senator Kelly Ayotte for doing a wonderful job in the U.S. Senate for the good of the state of New Hampshire and the country. And the Honorable Charlie Bear is here too. I wish you the best luck. Keep winning all the way. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Let's draw the prize. Yeah, we're gonna sell out next year.